there today from CJ's Drop on Life today. How we all doing out there? Hope we're all doing good. I got an interesting one here today. I was thinking today that I'd bring up something different today. Well, maybe a little bit different. I think maybe I've touched on it before, but anyways, I was thinking about today on how we were raised today, as you know, back then as kids, back in the 60s and 70s. Compared to nowadays in 2025, the way some of these kids are raised, or in the 2020s, let's say. But I was trying to think about how different kids were raised today than what they were in the past when we were kids. Like, for instance, I remember, in which it's a good thing maybe they took this out of school. I don't know. Maybe it's not a good thing. Maybe it should be welcomed back. I don't know. But I remember in junior high, well, I remember in elementary school even, going to the principal's office, and if you were bad enough and you did some things bad, like say one year, this is for instance, it was a wintertime. This was an area we grew up. I grew up by lake effect snow. So we always had a lot of snow in the wintertime. So what they would do is they would put God, it's so terrible. They would put like a target up, and have a bullseye in the middle, just like a dartboard, kind of like, But it would be made out of a lot of wood, and it was pretty tall, and they leaned it against the fence. So we had about 6 or 7 of these in a row, spaced out. So I remember one year, there's a bunch of us boys, being boys, back in the dime. We knew we were going to get in trouble. We knew we were going to get caught, but we didn't give a darn. We didn't care. So we would, pick up a gob of snow, and of course we'd throw it at the board, but every once in a while we'd throw it over the fence. It was a pretty tall fence. But we would manage to throw it up over the fence, and there was a street behind the fence, a pretty busy street. And we would hit the cars with snowballs. I mean, that was a big thing back in the day, throwing snowballs at cars. I don't know, I'd be mad as heck now if someone did that to me, but I would think it was a payback or karma if that did happen to me, because I did it so much in our neighborhood that it was even broadcasted on the radio. Don't go down this street. It was called Ann Street. On the radio, don't go out down Ann Street. There's a bunch of kids out there snowballing cars. And I remember we got caught. There's about 5 of us. We had to go into the principal's office. And of course, I was the principal's favorite person, as far as knowing him on a regular basis in the principal's office. I would go down there quite a bit, and sometimes he missed me. He would call me down to the principal's office just to talk to me, because he ain't seen me for a week or whatever. But I remember getting threatened with a paddle. He just threatened me. He knew me pretty well, so he would just say, next time you come down here, you're going to get the paddling. Well, I never did get the paddling from him in elementary school. He was a good principal. He was one of the best guys I knew. I mean, even though I got in trouble by him, he was an awesome principal. I would never, ever find anybody like him again. So skipping up to junior high, which they call middle school now, junior high back then, I would often see, because I would walk by the classes, and I would often see the principal, kids getting in trouble, and I would hear this story, like, you don't ever want to go with the principal. He'll paddle you. He's got this paddle that's got holes in it. They're like quarter holes in it, and it's a big paddle, and it hurts. He'll lift you up over the desk, and people would say, I've seen football players come out of there crying. It's like, holy crap, So one day, yeah, you guessed it, I got caught, and I had to go down to the principal's office, and there was no, like, oh, you're not going to get the paddle today. I got the paddle. And he had to bend over the desk, and he'd give you one good paddling, and that's all you needed. You didn't need more than one. And that was right. He had a paddle with holes in it. It was about quarter round holes in it. And I had to put my thumbs like under the desk and my 4 fingers on top. I used that for a grip, because I knew it was coming, and he would stand back, I don't know, about 3 feet or so, and just kind of take a couple steps, and wham! Boy, my eyes watered as soon as I hit that paddle hit my butt. And I think a little bit hit my back even, because I flinched. That was my fault, but I flinched. I knew it was coming. And that paddle hurt. I'll tell you what, I never got called down there again. And that's just one example of, I don't think that happens anymore. I don't know if it should happen anymore. Maybe it does need to happen to keep the kids in line. I don't know. Schools are a bad thing right now, I know. But another thing that we used to do when we were kids, we used to do all kinds of things. I'm trying to think, because I thought of all these today, and I was going through them all. I remember we had to be outside, and during daytime we spent all day outside. And when that street light came on, you had better be, your butt better be in the house by the time that street light came on, because if you weren't, you'd get your butt yelled at by your mom. I mean, my mom would be so mad. I know other kids' moms too were like, oh my God, I didn't get home till after the street light came on, and you know what? Yep. And that was a big thing back then. I remember there were so many kids in our neighborhood that it was like you could hang out with anybody you wanted to, but occasionally I'd hang out with some of the bad kids. I wasn't that great myself. But hang out with some of the kids that were probably a little bit worse than I was. And I remember I used to go up to the grocery store, and I'm not trying to brag about this. Believe me, I think of it now and I think, what the heck was I doing? But I used to go up there and 5-finger discount, if you know what that means, 5-finger discount, shoplift, of course. I'd steal cigarettes. That's when they were still, out. They didn't have to reach behind the counter to get them for you when you bought them. So 5-finger discount the cigarettes, and I would grab, 4 or 5, this time I grabbed 10 packs. And I was pretty slick, to say the least. I shouldn't have been, but I was. And I would go sell them. I mean, cigarettes, I think at that time were 50 cents a pack when I was a kid, I don't even think they were $1. They might have been 75 cents a pack. But I would sell them to the kids that, weren't old enough, of course. Sell them to them for like a quarter pack and make some money off of it, Terrible, terrible things we used to do. And I remember I got my good friend told on me to my mom, said, Claude did something bad the other day, and she wouldn't tell her what, but she just told her I did something bad. That's all she had to hear, that I did something bad. Of course, I was at home, and she come in the front door, and she yelled my name as loud as she could yell it, and I was at attention right there. That's what we did back then. If our parents yelled at us, you got at attention. You were up and saying, yeah, what's going on, Nowadays, I don't think so much. Maybe certain families, but I don't think a lot of families, not so much. But I remember being in the kitchen, and she said, I was just told that you did something bad. What'd you do? And I was like, nothing. And she backed me. My mom was a feisty lady in her younger days. She regretted it when she got older. She told me she was sorry and stuff, but she backed me up into a corner, and she was slapping me. I didn't have anywhere to go. The telephone was next to me. I couldn't escape, and I was just remember getting hit, not punched, but slapped. I said, all right, I'll tell you. She goes, all right, what'd you do? I said, well, I went up to the grocery store, which was called Dane's at that time, and I stole cigarettes. She goes, you did what? I said, yeah, I know, terrible. She goes, well, you're going to go down there and you're going to tell the manager what you did. And of course, the store didn't know what I did. No one knew what I did except, people that I knew. So I said, oh, do I have to? She goes, yes, you're going to go up there and you're going to talk to the manager and you're going to tell him you are going to work to pay that money back. And you are going to pay him back the money that you owed him for those cigarettes, what he bought, what they cost. So we had about a 2-block walk all the way up there. We got into the store, and I really did think I was going to have to talk to the manager. I got in there, and she walked around. She couldn't find the manager, so she said, okay, let's just go home. But you better not ever do this again. Ever again. I mean, that's the kind of things it was back then. I mean, people used to, as paddles at home. I mean, I remember getting hit with a Hot Wheel track. I mean, have you ever been hit with a Hot Wheel track, spanked with a Hot Wheel track? Yes. It hurts, man. It really hurts. And just different things like that. I don't think kids, like, we didn't have cell phones that we could play on all day long. We didn't have gaming systems that we played on all day long. We were outside. We weren't up our parents' butts all the time trying to figure out, what do we do? We're going to go someplace? We're going to go here? You're going to buy me this? No. You went out and made your own money. I remember shoveling plenty of driveways when the snow was 3 feet deep or 2 feet deep. Me and my buddies would go out and bust out driveways just to get a couple dollars and split between the three of us, 2 or 3 of us. Remember doing that, working hard, raking leaves, mowing lawns. Hell, we mowed a lawn. My dad never had a power lawnmower. We had one of those push ones where you push it and the blade would roll around. I had a big yard. Not a big yard, but it was a good yard. Good sized yard. Remember mowing lawn with that. I remember going to people's houses and mowing lawns with that thing. He didn't get a lawnmower, a power lawnmower until I moved out of the house. I was his lawnmower. I was the lawnmower. And he would pay me a little bit of money, not much. It was enough to just make me happy until next week I had to mow it again. It was always long. And we'd go out and do hard work like that. We'd push people out of ditches and stuff. They get stuck with their cars. We'd push them out. They'd always give us a tip. Oh gosh, what else was there? Man, we would do so many things. Help different kids as parents in neighborhoods, like maybe clean out the garage or things like that. We would work. We would go out and find work. Our parents never had to tell us to go out and find something to do. We were always outside doing something. And that's just the difference between the generation today and the generation back in the 60s and 70s. I'm not saying that it's wrong. I'm saying that, that's the way it is now. You parents treat your parents the way you want to. I don't, I like some comments in the comment section below, but keep them polite, please, okay? I'm not trying to say you're treating your kids wrong as parents. I'm just saying it seemed like a lot harder back then than what it is now. Kids had more discipline, I think, back then. I mean, granted, there was kids out there that had no parents, had no parenting at home. I was lucky. I had parenting at home. But I woke myself up in the morning to go to school every day, too. My parents were gone by 6 o'clock in the morning. I remember having an alarm clock, waking up at an alarm clock at 7 o'clock in the morning. No, I think that's the time we had to leave the house. I think I woke up at 6:30 in the morning to walk to school, which wasn't far. But I'd meet people along the way. I'd stop by one house, say, hey, you want to walk to school? Well, it was a routine after a while. We would walk to school together, which was probably, 8-10 blocks away. It wasn't that big of a deal. But by the end of the walk, by the time we got to school, we had 4 or 5 kids walking, all talking. We didn't have cell phones. We didn't have to call each other and text each other, take selfies and send them to each other. It was just a different time. And I'm so glad and so happy I was able to experience that. I mean, the kids now are experiencing some stuff, and they have a lot of peer pressure on them, a lot of drugs out there, which there was back then too, a lot of drugs. But I don't know if I'd like to be a kid in today's society, because I think it's a weak society, but a tough society. I think it's tough when they go to school. I think it's especially if you don't fit in, it's tough. So I think they have a lot of problems that way. But if you remember anything you used to do when you were a kid and how things have changed and how different it is, comment below. I like to hear from everybody. Please, so comment. I don't get a lot of comments, but I'd like to start getting a lot of comments. I answer every comment that comes my way. They're not good or bad. I mean, if you want to give me throw a bad comment at me, throw me a comment of what you'd like to see. What kind of things you like to see on here? I mean, I'm always open for that. Always open for like to hear from you guys on, hey, do something on this, because I'm going to do different subjects. I'm going to do stuff like this. I might do a little political things, not major political, because I don't want to get in too deep to that. It might be just to brush upon some things that I don't agree with. Some spirituality. I get into that. I can't even say the word, but yes, I get into that. I get into the universe. I get into solar systems and stuff like that. I'm in a wide variety of things. So if you can think of anything, I can touch on it. Believe me. All right, people. I guess that's enough reminiscing for today. So if you would like, please leave a comment. Like this video if you enjoyed it, please. Even if you didn't, give me a like. But, yeah. And comment, like, and subscribe. I need some subscribers, people, please. I got to keep the station going. All right? All right, everybody, I hope you're out there and you're talking to somebody you don't know. If you see somebody out in public, say hi to them. Make their day. It might make their whole day just by you saying hi to them. You know, to put them in a better mood and everything else. Just say hi, and if you can, strike up a conversation with somebody. We're all in this together, okay? So please, people, be kind to each other. Be judgmental free and get along. All right. Peace, everybody. We'll talk at you later, and you have a great day, okay?